UConn's Hall of Fame women's basketball coach faces some serious allegations. A female NBA security officer is accusing Geno Auriemma of unwanted sexual advances and suing him for employment discrimination. His accuser protects NBA and WNBA players, including in international competition. This lawsuit, filed in New York, pits the iconic college coach against a law school graduate and a former New York City police detective. 46-year-old Kelly Hardwick says it was on a trip to Russia in 2009 when she claims Geno Auriemma followed, grabbed, and tried to forcibly kiss her outside her hotel room. In her lawsuit, she says she successfully shoved him away, but that since then, Auriemma has more than once tried to demean and control her in her job, culminating, she says, with his allegedly demanding that the NBA and USA Basketball remove her as top security official for the women's team at this summer's Olympic Games. It was the last straw, says her attorney, whom we spoke with today from New York.
Let me tell you, she wouldn't have filed this suit if he had left it behind. To be removed from perhaps the most prestigious assignment that she can have as a security professional, we think was just too much for her. And she said, I'm not going to take this lying down.
Hardwick worked as security official for the Olympics in Athens and Beijing and says when USA Basketball notified her in March that she'd been benched from London, she knew there could be only one reason.
I think, frankly, he was embarrassed, that he had been allegedly rebuffed. She's an ex-police officer. She knows how to handle these kinds of situations, and she did.
Hardwick says the NBA never investigated her claims, not recently or in 2009 when she first returned from Russia and reported them. Still, her attorney says she tried to be a professional and move on until Auriemma allegedly tried to stop her. She wants back pay, front pay, punitive damages, costs, and her Olympic job back.
To not send the most competent professional who has had 2 Olympic experiences under her belt to that arena to make sure our athletes are safe, I think there's no excuse for that behavior. And it's shocking. It's just shocking to me.
Now, aside from the claims against him, Hardwick is suing USA Basketball and the NBA, saying a culture of gender discrimination has kept her from being promoted. Joining me to talk about the suit and its impact is Fox Connecticut sports anchor Bob Rumbold and Jason Page, who is host of The Jason Page Show on the all-new ESPN New York 98.7 FM. Thanks, guys, for being here.
You're welcome.
So there's a lot going on there, and, as reporters who've covered Geno for years, known him for years, I'd just like to ask, what was your reaction when you first heard it?
Well, having covered him since 1995 and been in social situations and covered them in different places all over this country, from the left coast to the right coast, never seen anything that would be anything like that.
Wow.
Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing. I mean, he's, a bombastic, talks a lot, this and that, but none of that. Never seen anything.
But at the same time, could we all agree that some sort of confrontation between the two could have occurred? Sure.
Yep.
When you're talking a couple of years ago, though, somebody's recollection of it might be a little different. And now my biggest problem with it, Laurie and Bob, is if it's not true, then what? Yeah. I saw somebody write a column the other day. Somebody with Sports Illustrated wrote a column the other day saying, if it's true, he needs to resign and resign immediately. But what wasn't written in the column, and what bothers me the most is, well, what if it's not true? This is a guy who has to go into the living rooms of high school students, high school females. He has a male already up against it. There's a male going into the living rooms of high school females to try and say, Mom and Dad, you want to send your daughter to UConn to come and play for me. So whether it's true or not, polls could say what they want. He's been tarnished.
He's coached over 1,000 games, okay, at UConn. That's a lot of years. He started back in the 80s. We've seen how many instances, how many people have said anything of this?
Yeah,
no.
Never heard rumors. I mean,
All
even me, and I've had limited contact, but
yeah.
I've never
you
heard
would have
anything.
You would have heard something. Sometimes Geno's like this. Sometimes I haven't heard one thing, nor have I seen one thing.
Jason, you were saying he's been tarnished. What do you think? So what are you saying? What do you think the long-term effect is going to be on his ability as a
Negative
coach,
recruiting.
Yeah.
Negative recruiting.
Absolutely.
Because there will always be someone who believes it?
Sure.
Coaches everywhere.
I mean, coaches around the country, whether it's true or not, they're going to go when they're trying to recruit a player and they're going up against UConn to recruit that player.
Yeah.
They're going to use this against them. I mean, heck, they use Jim Calhoun's, health
men's
issues.
nasty. Men's
sure.
recruiting is incredibly nasty.
But
And
when
you don't think women's is somewhat that way too?
When you consider how small the pool is for women's basketball talent,
Right.
that the top schools are competing for, they're going to use anything they can to try and get an edge over UConn. I wonder, again, I'm wondering how much this disables his ability to do his job as a recruiter, not just as a coach.
So what do you think he should do? I mean, if it's not true. What can he do?
Oh, well, I think at this point, he's probably been told not to say anything until it's worked through. You'd like him to be able to say, well, I mean, he has said it's patently false or it's beyond false or whatever the case may be.
It sounds like a he said, she said.
Right.
That's the problem. When you hear attorneys basically going out and saying, please, if anybody could help us with our case, come forward and help us.
Right.
What does that say?
Right.
That says to me, they don't seem to have a lot of corroborating witnesses or evidence to support her claim. If that's the case, it's he said, she said. And he loses no matter what, whether he's found not guilty, whether this case is thrown out, no matter what, he's already been damaged by this.
Right. This is someone out there to taint him, and if nothing else, she's done her part to do that.
How good is he with focus? I mean, obviously, it's coming at a very bad time. We're about to go to the Olympics. Do you think it affects his ability to coach and perform there? Not
exactly. Not with this group. I mean, this group of Olympians, 6 of them are his kids. I don't think any of them don't believe him. I think they all believe him. You see player to player, they all seem to be behind him, even if they've met this person, and many of them have, because she was on that security detail and have said, they always thought she was nice and this and that. But I don't think it stops him from being a great coach, because a great coach is a great coach, and everybody has that ability to just have that tunnel vision to coach a team.
30 seconds left. Just wrap up. I mean, do you think UConn overall, this now with the gym stuff and?
It's been a rough year. It's been a rough 12 to 18 months for UConn athletics. We can say that much. But again, this one I have a little bit more of a problem with it, because where does it stop?
It's fishy to me. I'm sorry. There's something fishy about it. But I don't know. Maybe that's just my personal feelings, because I've always had respect for the guy, and I've never seen him do anything untoward. So. Well, we'll be certainly looking to find out a lot more about it in the months to come, and we appreciate you guys chiming in with your opinions. Thanks a lot for being here. You bet. Well, don't forget, if you missed something here on The Real Story, you can now watch it online by going to ctnow.com. You can also catch us on YouTube. Thanks for watching this week's edition of The Real Story. We'll see you here again next week.